Alright, so today's unboxing is going to be all about the discs in this box. And they came out from the time this video we put up almost a week ago, but I didn't get them till Saturday, and that should tell you just what this disc is. So what we have here are two of the Midnight Prowl IIs. So this is going to be awesome. I got a blue one and an orange one. I'll probably be throwing an orange one just so you can see it a little bit better in the sun out here and against the sky. And then also you get a nice little Jolly Rancher, which I'll save for after I'm done shooting this video. I'm excited for this disc and really curious to see how it'll fly, especially compared to the first Midnight Prowl that came out last year. Klein's been doing really well the last couple years, and I'm excited to throw his signature disc for this year. I also have two of the first Midnight Prowls, one in the Midnight Plastic and one in the teal. Both of them are looking really good. This one's been used. This one is basically brand new. Picked it up kind of recently actually, so excited for that. I'll most likely be comparing this one to this one. 1 versus 2. Nope, the ones tended to be a lot more understable than the regular run of Origins, and I actually bag a prototype Origin currently. So I'm curious to see how these two differ in flight, and then if you should pick up one of the Midnight Prowl 2s, or maybe stick with your Midnight Prowl 1. Let's get into some throws. First throw with the Midnight Prowl 2, and I'm going to give it a little bit of hyzer, hopefully get it to flip up, light bit of turn, and hopefully get a little touch of fade back for the 5.5 -1.1 flight numbers that it has. Perfectly beautiful shot there. Let's get that first Midnight Prowl and try and get it on the same line. So that Midnight Prowl 1, or the first one, the Midnight Prowl, was a little bit lower. However, it was a very similar shot power, but that Midnight Prowl, the first one, as in the teal one, the one that came out last year, did hold that turn and just moved completely over to the right on that turnover line, even though it was on a slight hyzer flip, just like the Midnight Prowl 2. So far I think that Midnight Prowl 2 has more overstability than the Midnight Prowl 1. So let's get them back and try and get a couple different shots to see if that stability still holds true. The Midnight Prowl ended up turning over, whereas the Midnight Prowl 2 did not. And part of that, I think, is the Midnight Prowl 2 is almost a little bit domier than the Midnight Prowl. If a little focus there for you, it seems to be a little bit flatter, so I think once it gets turned over, it just holds on that line more, whereas the little bit of extra dome in the Midnight Prowl 2 ends up allowing it to stable out and push back for some overstability at the end. Time to get some anhyzer shots, and I think the first Midnight Prowl is going to be a little bit touchy on these, but I'm excited to see how the Midnight Prowl 2 does. Nice, it actually started to stable out a little bit at the end there, so good on that. And now time for a hopefully not so touchy shot with Midnight Prowl. So I clipped the tree on the left side, but I think it would have held the turn and probably dug into the ground without getting as much distance as the Midnight Prowl 2 did. As much as I don't really want to, I'm going to throw them both on hyzer shots and see if I can't get them to kind of spike in near this basket. With the flight numbers that they have and how they've been flying, I would expect them if they hold that hyzer, to really be able to pan out left a lot at the end of the flight and maybe get a little bit more left movement than you would with some more overstable mid-ranges like an MD3 or a Method. And just like that, it holds that hyzer line the entire time and gets a really large amount of left movement after it starts moving back to the left from being thrown towards the right side. Now again, the Midnight Prowl will probably be a little bit touchier because it does seem to fly a bit more understable than the Midnight Prowl II, so hopefully I can get this one on a similar line and we can see if there's any difference between the two. Okay, so a shot with a very similar flight path to start, release angle, and power. That Midnight Prowl, the first one, released November last year, I'll get that down to differentiate the two, but it seems to fly much more understable. So it actually flipped up and got a little bit of turn before stalling and fading out, whereas the Midnight Prowl II held that hyzer and pushed really far left at the end of the flight. I think these two are completely different discs, and the flight numbers might not accurately represent the Midnight Prowl at that 5.5 -1.1, but I do think they represent the Midnight Prowl II's 5.5 -1.1. As always, the last shots in this video are going to be forehands with both the Midnight Prowl II, hopefully that's right side up, it is right side up, I'm awesome, and then the Midnight Prowl. So let's get those forehands and hopefully keep them nice and smooth and actually get them out there. Kind of like I did in this video with the inner core from Trash Panda. That wasn't great. Now we're gonna go with the Midnight Prowl and hopefully do it better. So I'm gonna grab that Midnight Prowl II and throw another forehand with it because I'm not having that turned over forehand be the only one I throw with this disc on film for you guys. I'd like to thank my camera for dying during that last throw, so we're going to do another forehand with the Midnight Prowl II. Hopefully we'll get this one out there straight, even the slight headwind. That flew almost exactly like the Midnight Prowl did, but it is on a slightly different angle on release, and that Midnight Prowl 1 is a lot more touchy than the Midnight Prowl 2 is. So I think that's going to be my overall takeaway for this, is that the Midnight Prowl 2 I think flies much more to those 5.5 -1.1 flight numbers than the first Midnight Prowl did, and I think that makes them completely different discs. So if you're looking for something a bit more either stable or slightly overstable than that Midnight Prowl 1, I think either a Neo Origin or the Midnight Prowl 2 could do it for you. But if you do want something that's more understable and a bit flippier, that Midnight Prowl 1 really might be the one disc to go to. I'm not sure what else in Discmania's lineup will get you that same flight path, unless you're taking a Neo Origin or something and really beating it in so it is more understable. So let me know in the comments down below if you think that the new Midnight Prowl 2 versus the old Midnight Prowl should have different flight numbers because they fly so considerably different, or if the flight numbers are just something that they put on a disc based on the average mold and that they shouldn't change them just because a disc flies a little bit differently in that plastic or in that run. Also, I have a bunch of different plastic types for Origins, so let me know if you're curious about how all those different plastic types fly compared to the Midnight Prowl 1 and 2. Till next time, check out Neon Black Clothing, use code NEONDIVINE for 15% off at checkout, and don't forget to follow myself Disc Puns, Neon Black Clothing, and Team Neon Black on Instagram. And I'll catch all of you in the next video.